It's that time again. It's the Burky and the Badger Board Game Babble Show. It's going to get wild. It's going to get wacky. It might even get a little zany. We're going to talk about board games and the board game industry. And, you know, we might talk about anything else we want to talk about. Hey, it's the Burky and the Badger back online. Barry, the kingdom of Babblot has been silent.
It's been decimated.
It's been too long.
Decimated by lots of hot sun, which has ravaged all our crops.
And gremlins all over the place.
Gremlins? Oh, I didn't see them.
Yes. Oh, yes, they were eating on your grapes.
I forgot to check my grapes. They're hard.
Check your grapes.
They're hard to see.
That's always a good move. Check your grapes.
They're hard to see, though, because they're always behind me.
Oh. Yes. Of course they are. Well, I got to tell you, it has been a long time, and I know both you and I both have been crazy busy. With the business booming and convention season and fulfillment of game toppers, I've been blitzed out of my mind. And I know likewise you've been going to conventions, doing soundtracks, making videos, and taking care of Robin, Batman's sidekick, right?
Yeah,
little Robin.
He needs training, yes.
Yes, he needs training. Yes. Do you have training wheels on his tricycle yet?
No. He's still a wobbler. It's Maggie. You know, it's like walking along, and all of a sudden, just goes, whoop, whoop, whoop.
Those are good videos, though. They make those funny videos out of stuff like that.
Yeah.
You just need watermelon. Get some watermelon and a dog.
Okay.
Yeah,
so,
always and a monkey, because everything's better with a monkey in it.
So stinging nettles are not good. No.
No,
okay.
Not that.
Boiling hot acid on the floor is not good. No,
don't do that one. No.
Okay.
No, banana peels. That's okay, because they can eat them or slip on them or just look at them.
So King Burky here.
Yes, of course. How may I help you, Jester Barry?
Right, hello and welcome. Yeah, you are totally off the page. Hello and welcome.
What page are we looking at?
We're on page 59.
Oh, page 59. First encounters of the con type.
Yes.
Con kind. Con crud. Consciousness.
Hello everyone, welcome to episode 59. In this show, Burky and I will be talking quickly about what's been happening in Babylon, apart from the crops being ravaged. And we're going to do a roundup of rumours going round in things that make us go, Then we're going to give you some first impressions of some new games that we've played in our good, bad and ugly section. And then we're going to do a big review on a game. What game? Hang around and find out. And then we're going to have a babble subject topic. Well, we're just going to babble about Gen Con. I think most of this episode is going to be Gen Con related because we've been there.
Because it was Gen Con terrific.
Yes, we've been there and we've done that.
Yes.
So we just jump in straight into the things that make us go
Things that make us go Board game news. Burky and Badger reflect on the current events that are happening in the board game industry. Some may be good, some may be bad, but there are all things that make us go,
So tell me, Sir the Badger, what has been making you go,
You've knighted me again, but I didn't even know about it. Okay, it's been award ceremony everywhere, and it's been really, really kind of interesting. In regards to, say, like the Dice Tower Awards, it's like Gloomhaven has swept the board with awards,
everywhere.
for pretty much everything. And in the Eschen Spiel Awards, it's Azul, which is conquered all the games that, well, are German-based and it has done pretty well.
Yeah.
And Gen Con Awards, I know nothing about. Apart from I got a little flyer while I was there saying, vote for these games. I'm trying to recall it. It said, best science fiction fantasy board game. And in the list, you know, you had like a new version of Blood Bowl, whatever it was. And then there was Azul. And it's like, Azul? Science fiction? Fantasy?
Well, some of the aliens, you know, they eat ceramics, so they were eating the tiles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of the science fiction story, if you'd care to watch it.
They are future designs for crop circles. That's what. There's an artist, alien artist, who's designing crop circles that have these designs as the ones on the tiles. Well, anyway, yeah, it's been award ceremony, award season, and nothing has shocked me. I'm not a fan of Azul, but hey ho, it won. Lots of other people must like it. It must be good.
I had one that did shock me. If I can jump in, that was at the Dice Tower Awards. In fact, it even bothered me a little bit because the best game upgrade expansion went to Star Wars, and it went to a Star Wars. Oh gosh, I just lost it.
That's all right. I'm looking. Rebellion.
On the Rebel. What's the name of it?
The Rebellion. Rise of the Empire.
Rise of the Empire.
Yeah.
And so that bothered me because, in my opinion, it won it solely on its IP versus the merits of the upgrades that were in that category. Because I really felt like the Valhalla expansion and Mountain expansion that came for Champions of Midgard took that game to like such a heightened level. It has been incredibly well received by the entire community. So it just blew my mind that it didn't win. So that one made me go,
Yeah. I'm happy for Photosynthesis because, yeah, that's an excellent game. Azul, as I said, done well. Magic Maze, perfect game for families. It's more of a family game than a party game, but it's won a party game award. And luckily, in there, after I voted for everything Seventh Continent got the most innovative game award. Yeah.
And it was nominated, 5-6 times, I think, at Dice Tower, if I remember right.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually a lot more awards than the ones I'm looking at, because there was like best solo playing game and best...
I have my Ryan Lockett Red Raven t-shirt. Look at that, baby. Woo!
I'm just waiting for the day that Dice Tower do best soundtrack for a board game, and then
it could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
and best gaming table.
Best game accessory. I mean, every year when like Origins or some of the other conventions, Essen and the Spiel, they normally do like that as well. They do the best board game accessory, and it's normally Syrinscape that wins, which is a sound application which you can was generated for role-playing games, but you can use it for board games, and it generates ambient atmosphere for you, and you can chop and change and adapt the sounds to whatever you want. And that's been winning it for year after year because it's like probably the only kind of extra game accessory out there. So hopefully Game Toppers in the future, maybe in a year or so, will be on that list and have a good chance of maybe knocking Syrinscape off. Not that I don't want Syrinscape to be knocked off, because it is a fantastic...
just knock down a notch. We just want it to knock down.
Or swap places a bit. So one year it's Syrinscape, next year it's Game Toppers, and yeah. Yeah,
we're going to integrate a Syrinscape app into our aluminum rail system where you just push a button, and then the hollow in the aluminum rail becomes the echo chamber of the sound box.
Yeah, that's what you need, little speakers inside. And then you
can
just sit your app on it, and then it just...
See? Innovations. It all happens.
I'll put you in touch with
Burky and
Benjamin.
Badger.
I'll put you in touch with Benjamin.
Okay. Very good.
So what's been making you go,
Well, we at Gen Con, I know we're being silly here, and we're just going to have fun. It's a Saturday afternoon, right?
Yeah, everyone's in the pub.
Well,
Apart from Dan Hughes. Dan Hughes is not in the pub. Why aren't you in the pub?
No, Dan is he's enjoying himself. I know he's laughing back there.
Don't tell me tell me it's raining in England, because I'm going there soon. So
yeah, it always rains there, doesn't it? So we had the opportunity at Gen Con to go to the Secret Cabal Kickstarter dinner, and being we sponsor, Game Topper sponsors the Lord of the Dungeon podcast. Stephen Bonacore was there, sponsor of the Secret Cabal, Ryan from Mayday Games, and then about 8 of the Kickstarter backers who pledged to go to this dinner. So we had this opportunity together. It was fantastic. It was so much fun. We had a dinner together, and everybody was fellowship and sharing stories. But during that time, a bit of news came to my attention, and it was hot off the presses. It's probably a little delayed right now, but Stephen Bonacore begins to tell us that Stronghold Games has now merged with Indie Boards and Cards.
Ooh.
And yes, now many of you know Indie Boards and Cards, Coup and Resistance, and they have some awfully big titles in their repertoire, right?
Yeah.
I mean, this company they've got Flashpoint and Aeon Zen and Kadama, a lot of different games that they've come up with. Their new game Delve came out last year with Pete Shirey. I mean, there's a ton of IPs. This company's a pretty significant company, as well as Stephen Bonacore's company, Stronghold Games. So we're talking about, and I am starting to ask questions. So why, Stephen, are you doing this? What does this do for you that you're not already doing, or how does this help? And as he started explaining the benefits of both companies, the benefits of both marketing, and in essence, all of a sudden it started clicking.
Yeah, he wants to be brought up by Asmodee. That's what it is.
Well, I right away I went, this is smaller companies that are not on Asmodee's radar that are joining together. And as they join together, all of a sudden something happens. Do not be surprised, in my opinion. Now, Stephen didn't say this, but I'm reading between the lines. But there are going to be some other companies that are going to be merging with this title. I believe that. It really made me go, something very interesting is going to happen in the next few years, and we're going to see another mini giant conglomerate.
Yeah, that'd be cool. It'd be like one of those Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, all like joining together as one big robot.
There it is, board game robot. So which box will be on the head?
That'll be the question. Hopefully
That'd
survive.
Be the question.
Survive Escape from Atlantis.
Ticket to Ride Head.
Okay. So
that's things that make us go,
I guess. And on our last show, which seemed like a decade ago, we put a poll up. Because in our last show, we were talking about games that we love to play, but they just sit on our shelves and we can't get them to the table.
Right.
So most of the reasons that we can't get these games to the table is because we're busy or we can't find people to play with. I can't remember what I said. I'll just make up a response. I make everything up. So we had a lot of votes for this, which is fantastic. But the most popular vote was with 43%. Nobody wants to play your favorite game.
What?
Yeah.
So no. Okay, no. You got to back up. Tell me the poll. Give us some. Give us the question. Give us the options.
I did do that.
Do it again.
Okay, I'll do it again. All right. Okay. So what the games that we love playing that don't get played? Why don't they get played? And this was the number one reason for why your number one game doesn't get played.
Okay, and
43% of our voters said no one else wants to play our favorite game.
Okay.
Which I can relate to. Again, for me, it's a lot of I can't get my daughter to play this game because it's a little bit too heavy for her still. So But no, she plays viticulture. What am I talking about? There you go. Sorted. The second highest vote was at 28.9%. It's too technically heavy. Most of our friends wouldn't understand the rules. Okay, and then after that, a third was someone always has the latest game and you're obliged to play it.
Yep. That one's a good one.
No one voted for it's falling down the back of the shelf and so you can't find it, which has happened to me.
That has happened to me before.
Okay, but with 7%, the size of the game physically, it's too big to take out anywhere. And then we have at 1%, the dog ate the rule book and Rodney hasn't made a video. Hashtag, it's all Rodney's fault.
It's all Rodney's fault. Well, mine is definitely the first one, 43%. I'd be there. And we had a lot of people join in on this poll, right, Barry?
Yeah, we had 135 votes, which is wow.
So, there's a fair sample size, and that was my biggest problem is getting a game group together a lot of times to play certain games. One of my favorite games of all time is Nothing Personal, but it gets played on Father's Day and on my birthday, and both of them last year, I was gone. One at a convention and one on a business trip. And so, yeah, that was my fault versus getting everybody together. But trying to get a group of people together consistently, it's becoming more and more of a challenge.
Yeah, I consider myself lucky. Lots of people play viticulture with me, no problem. And Seventh Continent, I can just play on my own, which is perfect. So no worries there. Maybe I should have voted.
So we're going to come up with another poll for this week?
Yeah, we're going to come up with another poll this week. And it will be something Gen Con related. But for now, we're going to do a little bit of publicity for our friends at Arcane Wonders.
Awesome. Arcane Wonders is our wonderful sponsor. Been so for a couple years now, and I got to tell you, had the opportunity to hang out at Gen Con with Arcane Wonders, and they have some fantastic games. The new Dice Tower Essential game, Critical Mass. This is a mech on mech warrior game, and it's a lot of back and forth card play, but it's already been hinted there are new mechs coming into this universe. This game is highly touted by Tom Vassell, and the Dice Tower Essential label, of course, is on it. In addition to that, their new game, you can see in the back there, is called Good Critters. Now, this was renamed from Deep Pockets, and it basically has this social deduction, voting, bluffing aspect to it, and you have all of these little critters dressed up in mobster uniforms. This particular game is so fun and interactive. I was able to play this at Dice Tower Con with Tom Vassell and 6 other people. And so if you have a group of 2 to 6, I think it's 3 to 8 players, it's a fantastic, fun game. It just was released at Gen Con. Go out and get Good Critters. And then, of course, Senshi is their new abstract game that has come out. And then the complete line of Arcane Wonders Dice Tower Essentials. You've got Royals and Onitama expansion. And now they have the new Wind Spirit expansion for Onitama. Spoils of War, Mage Wars, Royals. There's a wide variety of high-quality games, and you can find them at arcanewonders.com.
The good, the not so bad. Wait for it, and the ugly.
Well, so do you want to go first there, Badger?
I am totally unprepared.
Oh, I'm not unprepared. I'll go first then. And then you can prepare yourself. Prepare yourself, Evie. All right.
Prepare yourself, Pilgrim.
Now listen here, Pilgrim. I wouldn't push it. I got a touch of the hangover.
Oh, no.
All right.
Oh, no.
Well, so this is the deal. I had the opportunity at Gen Con to play a game with Jamie Keggy and Tony Topper of the Secret Cabal and Dr. James. And we actually got the opportunity to be taught by the incomparable, the rules master himself, Sir Paul Grogan. So he did the rules teach of this game. This particular game was much crunchier than I thought from initial look at it. This was a Kickstarter game that I backed about a year ago. It comes by a noted designer who has received an amazing amount of accolades in the industry. There's a worker placement element to it. There's tile laying. There's, different player action selection, different things of this nature. And this game is called Founders of Gloomhaven. Founders of Gloomhaven, you actually have a similar system to kind of like Concordia, where you have your action cards that you can play down, and they allow you to do different things. They allow you to build, for instance. You could build a town or a house or some of these other buildings, or roads. Or roads play an integral part of the game in connecting things, and there's different ways to connect these roads to other buildings, but in order to do so, you have to have certain types of resources to move on kind of like a tech tree, if you will. If you have iron and you have wood, for instance, you are able to produce this, which will be that Capitol building that we're going to be able to put down. But these cards that are action selection, you get to play them. So say that you're playing a few different cards, but you need that card back in your hand, then you can play the vote card. That allows you to refresh all of your cards, a la the Tribune card in Concordia. And then we take this vote, and in this vote, we're choosing different capital cards, but these are going to be end game victory points for you if you have those resources, so it becomes very strategic at that point. And then in addition to that, you have different characters that you're able to get to enhance your cards to add different abilities in achieving different things throughout the game. Like I said, the game is fairly crunchy in tracing your roads back to the points. If somebody else has one of those resources in line with you, they're going to get a portion of those victory points. So that's a brief overview. This is a first impression, first play, Founders of Gloomhaven. Barry, what do you think I have to say about that?
Crunchy game. You already told me your response. I don't know if you remember at Gen Con.
I don't.
Do you remember that convention called Gen Con? Where there was this English guy there, and you kept taking him out for those shrimp cocktails?
Oh, we went to Harriet and Izzy's, Harry and Izzy's to get shrimp.
Our colonoscopy.
Oh, with the horseradish, baby. Cleared out your nose, right?
Not just the nose.
That the English bowels just couldn't handle the American horseradish, huh?
No, give us English horseradish any day.
Well, that stuff was awesome. So
I'm going to say that you think it's not so bad due to the fact that it's very crunchy, but it was probably very, very pleasurable and long.
Yeah, I struggled with, this is a first impression segment, so, I think I'm going to say exactly what you just said. Not so bad.
Okay.
It's not so bad. I think Isaac is a brilliant designer. I was let down a little bit from what I was expecting. And I don't know why I was expecting it to be less heavy than it was. I don't mind heavy games. There's some heavy games that I love. I love Kanban. Mm-hmm. Everything just clicks for me. Some people say it's so difficult for them. To me, it absolutely clicks. I don't get brain fog with it or anything. On this game, of course, we're at conventions. I was tired before I went to Gen Con, okay? So going to Gen Con does not help that.
No, it doesn't help when you're so tired you can't make beef jerky.
Exactly. No jerky, no spices. You know how many people came up and asked me for jerky? Good grief. So the gameplay was good. We all enjoyed it. I think Jamie and Tony and Dr. James, seems like Dr. James, that guy is super crazy smart. And he seemed to pick things up really quickly. Paul, as always, did a fantastic job walking us through. I mean, that could have been an hour teach on that game easy had Paul not gone through a sequential method of each phase. So we knew it was a learning game where we weren't making necessarily the best choices, but he was showing why we would do different things in that progression of the first 2 rounds. So it was a great way to teach the game, and Paul did a fantastic job. I think everybody enjoyed it, but there were some things that were a little fiddly that bothered all of us. It was a little difficult sometimes to trace back who got what when that Capitol building would be built, and then, you know, oh no, if you trace it back here, this guy's got this resource, so he gets 2 points. This person gets a point. Some of that got a little bit, just, I don't know if it's crunchy, fiddly, kind of a combination. So it was difficult to make some of those decisions. When it was all said and done, I think we all enjoyed the game. Yeah. So I think we all want to play it again. We all want to delve into it, and we all recognize that, hey, there's a much deeper puzzle here that none of us really got yet. Yeah. So for a first impression, it wasn't quite what I was hoping for, in that I just wanted that quick worker placement Gloomhaven feel that was going to, in my mind, I think I had a lighter weight hour and a half type of game, and it ended up being a lot more than that. But that doesn't mean that it's bad. In fact, it could mean that it's very, very good.
Yeah. It didn't look exciting. It looked rather bleak and colorless from the exterior. And the fact that Paul was still, I was sat near the table watching what was going on and just making a tomfoolery of myself and getting told off by Paul for making too much noise. Sorry, Paul. But it did seem like a very, very long explanation. I was thinking, luckily I didn't get a seat at the table, because I would have fallen asleep. At the end of the day, I don't want a game which is going to be, half an hour of explanation and more explanation as you're learning the game. I just want to sit down and go, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. That's what I said.
Wow. So I won't say that. No. So they I think everybody enjoyed the game, though. So that's the important that's not so bad. So what game did you play next?
Oh, since we last talked, I've got 15 new games that I've never played before, which I've played for the very first time, and I'm trying to pick one to describe to you.
All right.
Okay. All right, this one is set in the wild, wild west.
Ooh.
And it's played on a modular board. But players will have their own player boards, and they will have a selection of tiles, which they will shuffle up, and they will be discovering them as they play. You'll either be revealing 2 tiles and placing them on your board. These tiles are buildings, and it's a bit like bingo there. You're revealing them and go, oh, I got 57, that goes there. Or you can build 3 of your buildings, which you have on your player board, onto the main board. And what you're doing is you're trying to make a connection from 2 towns somewhere in America. And the first player to connect 2 towns with all their buildings will be the winner.
For a minute there, you had me thinking that it was Carson City for a second, but numbers and bingo. Western thing, bingo.
Well, it feels like bingo. I'm not saying that it is bingo. The other way that you can win is actually to place all your buildings on the board, because there are times when someone's road, like Tron, someone's road will block you, and so you'll have to go around their road, but they will then start making their road longer, so you're like, But, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what game it is. What game are you talking about?
I'm talking about US Telegraph.
Oh, wow.
Which is a new version of an old game called Attica.
Oh.
It has this new cowboy theme on it. It has a new cowboy theme on it. And it has a new cowboy theme on it, as well as the cowboy theme.
A new cowboy theme?
A new cowboy theme.
Wow.
Yes.
Now listen here, Pilgrim.
Exactly. We should have played that at Gen Con.
Now listen here, little sister. I don't think you have $50.
This town ain't long enough for the both of us.
I'm not going to hit you.
I'm just going to drink your milk and get the wazoo out of you. So, yeah, this is a very interesting family-style game where, as I said, you'll be collecting your tiles on your turn, if you wish to, or you'll be building tiles which you have already placed on your map. And you can pay for these buildings to be built by playing resource cards, or if you build the building next to resources which are marked on the map, or if you play in sequential numbered building next to another building. So if you place 51 next to 50, you get to build it for free. And some of these buildings are chained. And some of them are the same number. So there's one set of 52s. So you can just place a 52 next to a 52 next to a 52 for free. But the thing is, you're drawing these tiles at random from these different piles. And so, as I said, it's kind of bingo-ish. You got your own bingo board and your own.
How many total tiles are there?
There's quite a few. I would say there's around 30 different tiles.
Okay.
So each player's got 30 tiles. You draw them. Yeah, I think it's 30 because there's 3 piles and they're all about 10 high. So, yeah. So what do you think I think about this game about...
It sounds like it's in
cowboys?
your wheelhouse, and I think you like set collection, some random exploration, all of that. If it's family weight, like you mentioned, I think you think it's good.
Yeah, it is good. It's light, but at the same time it's thinky, It was a bit hard to get your head around the fact that you can either draw 2 tiles and place them on your board and then build 3 buildings from your board. But after a while, it came quite easy. The game is a nice little puzzler where you're looking at your resources. You don't necessarily have to use your resource cards. You can be quite cunning and build your buildings in areas where there are lots of resources around. But the thing is, once they're covered up, those resources are gone, so nobody can use them. The main priority, as I said, is connecting 2 towns some way. The nasty way is going diagonally across the board if you're playing 4 players. If you're playing 3 players, you got a bit more option. But it's a nice puzzle. You're puzzling out your routes, and there's a lot of interaction because you have to watch where the other players are building, what they're building, and where you think they're trying to connect their route. You're basically making like a telegraph wire across the deserts and cactus-ridden lands of the United States of America, buddy. I got this accent down to a pin now.
Yeah, you do, dadgum.
You old cat, you.
Yeah, you scallywag, you.
Oh. I should go a bit more south. Oh, yeah.
Now listen here.
You pilgrim. Yeah, I like the way this game goes. It's really, really cool. So, yeah, that's my game. US Telegraph.
That's like that's kind of like a cowboy mobster or something there.
Okay.
Okay, I got another game that I've been playing, and
another game.
This game is pick me. This game is icy cold, and yet it's really fiery, really, really fiery. So,
all right, yes.
And
I think I figured it out.
It's
already.
also musical. It's very musical, icy, and fiery. And so,
is it miniature-y?
It definitely has some amazing miniatures with some of the best plastic in the miniatures I've seen. Actually, this is a miniatures game that's movement and very tactical. There's wonderful player abilities with leading of each of these tactical groups, movement, typical miniature style play, but an amazing theme. So what game do you think it is?
It's got to be Songs of Fire and Ice.
Song of Fire and Ice!
Yeah, well done. Piques your interest.
Yes, hey, Pete, how are you, buddy? So, yes, exactly. We were at Gen Con, of course, and Cool Mini or Not, Simon Games actually had 18 of our game toppers, and they specifically brought in 6 of our largest game toppers, the Mycroft, 48-inch by 72, particularly for the big push of this game, the Song of Fire and Ice. And so I was able to get a copy of the game. We're doing some wonderful things with Simon in the future regarding this IP, which is for another time to talk about. But like what we were able to get the game. Well, my son Josiah right away he loves miniatures games, and he got out the rules. And last night we actually played a game of this, and we had a full blown skirmish. We went out and I was the Lannisters, and so we had these characteristics with Jaime Lannister, of course, and I've got the Mountain. He's on my team, and then we've got the Starks on the other side. So there's this rich flavor that's coming from this IP, and then the way these tactical groups move, the way you take damage, the way you roll dice is interesting. When you're actually making your hits, then you get, if you've been hit, you get to generally use those dice to be able to roll defense from those hits, which is a little bit different than I've seen before. There's also a lot of modifiers. Each player has one of their characters that can go on this separate character card that actually has 5 different abilities that you can do. And if you have these 5, if you're on one of these abilities, let's say, for instance, the Money Pouch, and you have some of these tactic cards, you might be able to get a special movement ability or a special retreat or a special modifier to your dice roll if you are on that particular spot with your, like Cersei was mine. So it's that kind of thing that causes that gameplay, and your great big armies moving around. He had the dire wolf that brought in a real unique dynamic with the Starks. So, very quick overview, miniatures game, Game of Thrones IP. What do you think I thought about it?
Me thinks you love it, he said.
It's good. It's good. And that's not because I just like Simon games. There's very few Simon games that I haven't thoroughly loved. There's been some big games that they've did that just weren't quite my kind of game. But when we played this here, I could see Josiah and I sitting down and playing this over and over. Because right away after I started to see the nuances of how you can flank, and you can go, depending upon your range and your range and your sight, you can go halfway on one of those units and then have another one join the battle. There's all kinds of different ways of tactically moving, retreating, using special abilities, overpowering another with moving the right group. The component quality is flipping off the charts. These are some of the finest. These minis are really fantastic. The little swords, they don't bend and have that warpage, issue that you have. They're just highly crafted. I honestly can't wait to see. I think Josiah will probably paint this set. And the horses, he had this horse group. When you look at the horses, I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. I love the games that look the way they look. But when you saw this out on the board, man, and I can't wait to play it again.
Songs of Fire and Ice, the miniature game, which is going to
Oh,
I don't know.
And you wait until you see all the expansions. This thing is primed for all kinds of expansions. I know they already have the winter expansion. And Eric, something really just a little sideline, but Eric Lang, we had brought an extra one of our War Terrain green mats for the Mycroft and one of the white War Terrain white. And they have this new expansion that's in the winter, scape, and so they brought that out and were demoing it on that white mat. And Eric Lane took note of it and told Carol at Simon, she goes, Eric was really impressed with that white mat, and it could not have been more apropos with the launch of this expansion. And wait till all these new expansions come out; it's just going to be fantastic.
Yeah, it sounds it. I mean, when I first saw the white mat, I thought someone had spilled beer on it. There was like patches and stuff.
No, it's
obviously there was like hues of shrubbery just poking through the snow.
Well, thank you. I'll have to use that in the description on our web store.
Okay, yeah. No real beer was spilt on this table. Like no real animals were hurt making this film. Okay. I've got another game then.
All right, one more.
Which one should I pick? Which should I pick? I've just closed the Board Game Geek down accidentally.
That'll learn you.
But I'll have to do it off the top of my head. This one I played at Gen Con.
Gen Con?
Yeah, I played this one at Gen Con with Forrest Bauer and Keith Collins.
Did I play this game?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
No. Because it's not out yet.
Oh, it's not even out yet. Because that was a prototype that you were stuffing down our throat.
That I was demoing. Yeah. That was a prototype I was throwing down your throat and getting some feedback.
Yeah, throw up is what you were getting.
I was getting evil looks because you were like looking at me thinking, this game sucks.
No, I actually liked that game. I thought that was cool. But anyway,
it was good.
Going on.
Right, so this game, each player will have a secret identity. This identity is a character which is going to be placed out in the middle of the table. There's 15 characters in the middle of the table, and each player will have a card which tells you, oh, you're that one, or you're that one. Each of these characters has different attributes, which are things that they like. They might like tea. They might like the colour blue. They might like sitting down. They might like something else. And in the game, you're trying to figure out who the other players are. You're actually kind of like guessing who the other players are as you pose these questions to try and narrow down that one possible outcome, which could be them. But there is a nice little twist to it as well. There are a couple of characters that will receive randomly these little tokens which sit on them, saying that if anyone asks you if you like anything, you say the opposite. Or if anyone asks you a question, you always say no. So,
wow.
There you go. That's a brief overview of the game.
So it's kind of bluffing then, is it?
Not really. You've got to tell the truth. But if you pick if you have a character which has a thing on their character card saying you must lie, or you must say the opposite, or you must say something else, you have to do that.
Well, I haven't heard of this. I guess. This was probably played in the Hot Games room.
This was indeed.
BGG Board Game Geek really did a fantastic job at the Hyatt Hotel with that room. Totally. Yep. BGG VIP.
Yeah, I'm shocked that I'm a VIP.
Yep. I had a VIP card too. So we're both VIPs.
I'm gonna frame this.
It's not. Is VIP like a vamp?
No, because it's a vamp is not a VIP.
It could be in a different language.
Oh, VIP it, man.
VIP it. VIP it. Just VIP it down.
Just tell me. VIP it real good.
VIP it. VIP it.
You gotta VIP it. VIP it good.
VIP it. Well, I don't know. This sometimes you don't care for those kind of games, so it's because they're group dependent. So I'm gonna say not so bad.
But what's the game?
It's VIP. VIP versus Vamp.
The game is Dinosaur Tea Party.
Oh, I knew that. It's
You
kind of
knew that.
It's kind of a kid's version almost. It's a pretty light game.
It's a very light game. It is multiplayer Guess Who, which is great. I love Guess Who. And this is great because you can play it with more than just one other player. It doesn't feel the same. You're kind of restricted to the questions in a way. It does say that you can like elaborate and go off on your own path, but you're basically asking if they like cake, or if they like tea, or if they like chairs, or if they like sky, if they like blue, if they like green, if they like the sun, and that's it. Whereas with like the original Guess Who, I was making up questions, is your character looking slightly askew to the left with some concern? Instead of, has your character got blue hair or whatever? So, it plays really nicely. It has the Guess Who feel to it. It knocked out pretty quickly. Within like 2 minutes, we were up and running, and then 10 minutes later, we'd finished. It is aimed, as I said, for young children and their families, so you can all play Guess Who at the same time. It looks nice. The cards are nice and big. Is it my cup of tea? After one game, at the moment, I think my daughter's too old for it already. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. Well worth going to check out, especially if you have young kids.
So not too bad. There you go.
Not too bad.
Rick Ortloff has joined the house. Jay Peak is in the house. So look at this. Look at this guy.
What? The one with the hat?
No, there's a laughing guy there.
Oh.
These are like the pictures, when you go into a booth and you get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Well, very good. All right, we're done with our not so bad and good and ugly and bad, not so bad segment, and
I've got another 13 to go.
Yeah, exactly. So we're going to have another shown. We do have another sponsor, though, that we probably should talk about real quick, too.
You should do indeed.
We have the illustrious people from Academy Games. Academy Games has been gracious to sponsor the show here now for several months, and Uwe and Gunther Eichert, I just have a lot of affection for those guys personally, and for the type of games that they make. Academy Games is known for their historical, tactical games, but they have so much to offer. Recently, they just had the games Agents of Mayhem that was Pride of Babylon, that was huge on Kickstarter. They also have their American history series with 1775 and 1812 and Vikings 878. They were demoing this like crazy at Gen Con. And the new game that they just kickstarted, Tutor, which has this really cool mechanism with the hand player shields that you put rings on, and when you have a combination of different rings, that actually allows you to do different things, and you're vying for power and getting your nobles to the seat. It has a worker placement element. It feels very thematic. The production of the game is brilliant. Academy Games, what can I say? Check them out at academygames.com. You're sure to have fun playing any of their games. Mare Nostrum. We could just go on and on about the quality that this company puts into their games. So check them out at academygames.com.
Welcome to the kingdom of Babblot. In the castle of Babblot sits Burky and Badger, and they will be looking at a game that they have both played, and they will be seeing whether or not it is worthy of entering the kingdom of Babblot. They will combine their scores, and if it reaches a 10, they have a special place at the table in the kingdom of Babblot.
Smooth.
Like a shrimp cocktail from Harry and Izzy's. Poor Kelly. Poor Kelly.
Yeah, he couldn't handle that, could he? That was pretty funny.
His eyes were bulging out like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Turtle Rico. It's just like...
All right, so set us up for what we're going to be doing in the segment Knights of Babblot.
Okay, so we're going to talk about a game that we've played quite a lot of times, because this is more of a review than a first impression. And we also got to play at Gen Con together with a laugh and a half.
Yeah, yes, we did. You can even see some of the video.
Yes, I've posted a video somewhere.
A video? Not a video, a video.
A Vipio.
A video.
Yes, a Vipio. And we're going to talk about it, explain how it plays, and then rate it together. We'll both give it a score from 1 to 5. A 5 is an absolutely love, must own, will play whenever possible. A 4 is very good, want it in the collection. Love to play it numerous times, just not a 5.
Right.
3 is good game. It's a good game. Yeah, it's a good game.
Really good game.
And we'll play occasionally. 2 is it has some problems and not excited to play it again. And then 1, hate it. Let's throw it off the plank. Make it walk the plank.
Loathe entirely.
Yes. And then we'll add these scores together to give us a total score to see where it sits in the Kingdom of Babblot. And this game that we're going to talk about is called Jamaica.
Jamaica. Yeah, man, we be jamming on the one here in Jamaica. Man.
Okay.
No.
That's great. The pirates have not got this one in their bag.
But I have to do something if we're talking about pirates. You know why pirate jokes are funny, don't you?
No, not this joke again. This
because
is the 57th
they just
time.
are.
No!
Do you know what a pirate's favorite food is?
Pieces of 8.
No,
chocolate.
Pepperoni. Yeah.
Okay. So, Jamaica has been out a long time. It's been out about 10 years. Yeah, the puns are just flowing today.
Yes.
They were even worse when we were sat at the table together, holding hands.
It's just exhaustion. That's all it is.
Yeah. So Jamaica's been out for 10 years, and this is a roll and move game. Can you believe it? Roll and move. And it is a very well done roll and move, because you're rolling 2 dice and you'll be playing a card. And the card has 2 symbols on it, and depending on the order of which dice goes first and which one goes second will determine which value it clings onto the 2 icons. These icons will either let you move forward, move backwards, collect food, collect cannons, and collect gold. And the object of this game is to get your boat all the way around Jamaica first to get the most points. Your gold counts as points. And you're also going to find some little treasure hidden in your pirate codes.
See, I love the pirate codes, because if we're going to go around the board, there are opportunities that you can take the longer route, but more than likely there's going to be a little cove in there represented by a little skull. And when you get there and you land exactly on that tile, you're going to be able to get these cards. And these cards can be great rewards, as in 7 victory points even, 8 victory points. However, there can be curses, but there can be an extra hold in your ship so that you can get extra goods to win, and gold in your ship at the end of the game is wonderful. But you don't really want it at the beginning, because what's going to happen? People are going to come over and try to duke it out with you, and if they've got more cannons than you do, the chances are they're going to steal your gold.
No, they aren't. Even if we got more cannons than them, it relies on a dice roll, which I suffered badly at. I lost everything.
That's because you went on your own accord.
Yes. I lost my cord overseas, and that was it.
Oh,
and I
lost my accordion. and the music stank.
The music stank. Where did you lose it? In a pigsty?
Oh, it was a disgusting hold in the bottom of the boat, and rats infested. But there was rum.
There was rum.
Yes.
There's always rum. It makes them roll faster.
And I was Samuel Bellamy in this game, and he's a...
Oh, you remembered.
He's a wise old pirate and sailed the 7 seas.
Yeah. So basically, yes, you're going to be racing around the board. Each player will take it in turns to roll the dice and then determine which order these dice go into. Every player will play a card, and they will activate that card. You'll either move along, if you certain spaces you'll stop on, you'll have to pay your crew food, so you'll pay food from your boat. Some spaces are ports, which you'll have to pay gold. And if you don't have anything, you always have to go back one space. And if you still can't pay that space, you go back one space, and you keep going back until you can pay, or there is no fine for you to pay. If you end up landing on a space on the end of your turn where there's another pirate ship, you have to fight that player, and that's when carnage happens. So it's a racing game around the board.
Carnage happens.
Carnage. Yeah, that's another game, that is. Yeah, that is it. Basically, it's light, it's fluffy, it's colourful, it's enjoyable. What do you think about the game, Burky?
Well, I think one of the interesting things about this particular race game is that you get to manipulate this dice and decide what's going first based on the 3 cards that you have, and you're always building back. So you have 3 different choices. Can I go forward? Can I go backward? Am I going to get this? If I go this direction, where am I going to end up? Am I going to have to backtrack? And then do I have enough food to do that? Also, part of the problem is, if I'm in the lead, sometimes that's not the greatest thing. Because if I go forward and don't get the right die roll on someone else's turn that I'm not selecting, all of a sudden I might end up not having enough food and might have to back up 2 or 3 into a battle that I may or may not be prepared to handle. So, you were looking up at the sky. Were you hearing an angelic voice?
Oh, no. We have a wasp's nest, and I have a wasp in my room, buzzing around intently. Oh, I have 2 wasps.
Yes, you must take care of them.
It's a prickly situation if I get stabbed by one of those curtailing little rascals.
I came across this game almost 5 years ago, and it was a perfect family weight game, and I think that's the way we'd categorize it. I don't think it's necessarily a children's game. However, children can easily play it because the iconography is very clear. The game decisions are fun. They make you think, and yet it's not overly complex. You can just kind of go for it, or you can try to really, Barry, he likes to math it out, so he sets and counts every one 20 times, and if you do this and I do this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, ha 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 ha, I love to count. That was very
I hate landing on spaces where there are other pirate ships, or especially when I roll terribly. Yeah. I'll spend 10 cannons and you roll a 2. And then the other player rolls the dice and they get an automatic success, and it's like, I wasted 10
and that's
cannons.
Something really interesting about the battle, because you can mitigate your battle, but you have to choose how many cannons you're going to use to make this attack. After you roll, and there's a number, say it's number 8. Now the defender actually gets to look at how many cannons he has. He gets to choose at that point what his risk is. So there's this euphoric excitement of that push your luck, decision making, dice mitigation, all of those things all in one. And then either you win and blow up all your cannons, or you save some for another battle. I mean, there's a lot of interesting choices.
Yeah, and there's some bonus cards. Some of the treasure cards are actually like a +2 to your attack rolls, and there's another one which will let you choose who re-rolls their attack dice. So it could be you, or it could be your opponent.
And they can come out just out of the blue, where they don't know if that's going to come out. If you've been to a treasure cove, That's in the back of my head. Oh boy, did he get that one that could mitigate?
Yeah.
Does he got a curse in his hand, or does he just got points? What is he doing?
And again, not all the treasure cards are used in every game. There's a couple which are put back in the box, so you don't know what they are. So it might have been the weapons bonuses, or it might be some treasure, or it might be some curses. So going to a cove, it can be risky for your health, but they're actually a good safe haven if you can't pay food or gold at the ports, because you'll just go backwards and backwards until you stop on one, and hopefully you're the first person there to take that treasure. And you guys, all you guys stole my strategy. That's normally what I do. I storm ahead, and then I can't pay, and then I slide back into the cove and get the treasure every time. But I just didn't draw the right cards at the right time, and
Yeah, I remember blowing your bony butt out of the water a couple times.
you did indeed, and steal my food. Luckily, I didn't have anything else.
One thing that's kind of fun about the game, it has this last leg timing mechanic, if you will. Once you get past that last leg, like when you're playing cribbage, all of a sudden we know the game is ending and is near. So everybody's trying to make, the further along, if you cross the finish line, you're going to get the most points. The person that follows behind that, instead of getting 20 points, they might get 15 points, and someone that's further behind might only get 8 points. So there's this sense of urgency that happens right away. But you have to remember all the gold that you've been able to carry with you on this trip. This is very important as well, and you don't want to lose it. And so I've got 8 gold here. Is it worth me moving forward, or should I use the card that gets me more gold and get those points versus the, traveling forward points? And so there's a lot of decisions there, but someone, if you don't make it across the line, someone could come up right next to you, blow you out of the water, and steal your gold. So there's...
The game is well balanced because every player has the same cards. They just come out in a different order into your hand, and you just got to use them to the best of your ability with the dice rolls. It's a great game. This is one of my favourites. I'm going to say this is a 5 for me. This is a game that I own. This is a game that I love playing. This is a game that I will play whenever possible, especially with kids, as long as they don't eat cards and rip them, because...
We brought this game out with a couple guys from WizKids that were at Shane Pretty's store, Family Time Games in Indianapolis, and we were there for an event, and Zev Schlesinger was there, and a lot of industry people, and we sat down and we were playing with the two gentlemen that are instrumental in developing HeroClix. So these are sharp game designers, industry insiders, and man, all of us were having a blast. Now, I have to make a point before I give my review, my rating. There's something about this game that bugs the heck out of me. While it was so creative, the rules, they are like a map. And so you have to fold it all out. But to get to page 1 to page 3 to 4, and because it's this crazy... trying to find something in the rules because the way it is, and it's double-sided, and flip it over, and I don't know which way I'm doing it. That
step back in time.
That was a poor choice, in my opinion. Kudos for effort, but that map...
Yeah, thematic, but a bit
not
awkward. Practical. No.
But the rest especially of it, the components, the ships, the colors on the map, the card play... I can't believe this, Barry. How long have we been doing this? We've been doing this podcast for 2.5 years.
No response. I had the whole of Gen Con, him going, right, we've been doing this podcast for 2.5 years. And my response is, no, Burky, it's 3.5. No. And his response would be... You're French time. You're 14 hours ahead of me. It's all adding up. It's only 2.5 years American time. No, it's 3.5 years. I don't know what cave you've been hiding out every winter, but you're a grizzly old bear, you. 2.5 years doing this podcast, and has anything ever gotten into the round table of Babblot? No, I say, no! But today,
Today, will it happen?
Drumroll.
I'm kind of freaking out a little bit here. 5 stars!
Woo!
Jamaica is one of my favorite family games as well. And I'll play it at any turn of a hat, and it was perfect for our setting. We had short, limited amount of time. It was easy to teach. We had to break for food. We were able to come right back to it without missing a... It's just a great game. It's so much fun. Every time I've played it, I've never had a time where I brought this game out where it wasn't fun. And then guess what? It was so fun that we saw this. Oh.
The expansion. The Crew.
The Crew. Look at that bad boy. It's still in shrink.
So is mine.
So
thank you for buying it for me.
Right here, look at this. This here.
It's not in shrink anymore.
No more shrink.
It's naked. Woo!
The Crew. Okay, we're doing an unboxing video right here. This is the inside of the box.
No, this is an unboxing podcast.
It's an unboxing, and I like the grayness of the box here.
That's gonna be great. Someone's gonna come along and copyright that. I'm gonna do an unboxing podcast.
Yeah, I like. Now look at these guys. These guys are cool. Okay, that's cool. These guys are cool. These are the Crew. Arr. And then we've got some new stuff going on here with these different pieces of artwork. And this is like really cool. Look at this thing. This is where we get to put the Crew in these little pieces here, and they flip up. And we've got cards, and we've got a bottle of rum, I think.
Looks like a red wine, a very bloody red wine.
Yeah, it's a bottle of rum. Maybe it's eyedropper. So, and there's lots of goodness in here, and I don't know at all how to play it, but I'm sure it's going to be fun, and we're going to try this one sooner than later, just because it has made
Jamaica
a seat at the round table of Babblot. Choo-choo!
Yay! I couldn't think of a better game than to be sat at the table with the King of Babblot than Jamaica. It is a fantastic family game. Best production quality I've ever seen. Greatest fun. As you said, I've never had a bad experience playing this game, and I've played it over 20 odd times. The only bad experience I had, as I said, is one of the family kids ripped a card, so I had to go and find sleeves, and that was a nightmare. But eventually I did find some sleeves.
Yeah,
so
those are tough sleeves to get. Are they tarot sized, or they're actually bigger?
They're slightly different to tarot size. They're a bit thinner than tarot. I can't remember which ones I got, but they were Mayday ones.
Oh, they were Mayday.
Yeah, Mayday cards.
Mayday makes some good sleeves. Yep.
Yes. So there you go. That's
Knights of Babblot.
Oh yes, and we have a 10.
Well, in post-production, I expect some crazy ass fanfare. That's what I expect.
And then you're going to get some crazy ass sound effects. I'm going to use Syrinscape to get my pirate songs on.
Yeah, and my pirate joke.
sea.
Make sure the pirate joke is well presented.
Okay. And for those of you who have just tuned in, the pirate joke is... If we ever do a competition, you're gonna have a chance to win Songs of Fire and Ice, the full edition with all the expansions, if you can answer this question. Why do pirates?
All right, well, it's time for us to move on to the Babble topic.
And now it's time for the Babble, 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 Burky and Badger's board game Babble.
Wow, look at those two monkeys. Why would you ever give these monkeys a podcast?
That's funny because one of them's got a top hat. That's kind of like what happened.
Yeah.
You had a top hat and I didn't.
Well, all I can say is everything's better with monkeys.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, we're babbling about conventions. We're babbling about the conventions we've been to, about the experience that we had. And so this was the first convention, and like we've been doing this podcast for 2.5 years. And has Badger and I ever met one another? We chat on the we've been on this show for eons, 2.5 of them, and it's just like crazy the amount of conversation you and I have had via Skype, via chat, emailing, Messenger, Facebook, FaceTime. I mean, all kinds of stuff for 2.5 years, and we've never met one another.
We've never hanged at one another. Let's do some math. We've done 58 episodes before this. Each episode is about 2 hours long. You had an hour extra on that for the time before, so 58 times 3 equals 174 hours.
Times 2.5 years.
At least.
And then multiply it times 2.5 years. That gives us over 350 hours by the double multiplier, because it takes us twice as long, because we usually have to reshoot this because we forget to turn something on.
Yeah. And if we dust some crops, we can do that in a few more parsecs.
And then think about all the hours of editing that you've done. I mean, there's like 1,000 hours of editing.
It's like you're always in my head. I'm always listening to you. Blah 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 blah. Game Topper. Blah 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 blah.
Blah 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 blah.
It's like a ghost from the past.
Well, okay, so we made it. We made it. We're 2.5 years in. We're doing well. So, finally,
conventions.
Barry ends up flying across the Great Pond. You didn't swim, right?
No.
Okay, so you flew across. You know, your arms are really tired. And you get across. It's awesome. And so now I understand why you were a little tired looking, because of the... It's exerting, I know. But better than swimming.
It's just the propulsion is... the amount of beans you have to eat beforehand just so you can take off.
Lift. They call that lift.
They call that lift, yeah.
I have lift.
I mean, I found it easier on the way back. I think it might have been something to do with the horseradish sauce.
Oh, but, lots of lift. Lots of lift.
Oh, yeah, I could have lifted any time.
Well, so we had this opportunity, and so I see Paul Grogan, and Paul says, oh, we have to film this reunited, and it
feels so good.
No, that's not the right song.
No, it's not right.
So, because we weren't united to begin with. You know, you have to be united before you can be reunited. So why are you singing that song?
That was you. Come together right now.
Cross the ocean.
Yeah, I was going to say something else.
Okay, that's good. So, so we get to see each other in the Gen Con hall when all of the
you say something else there.
all of the
in the nude,
all of the convention is being everybody's busy hurrying around getting their booths up, and all of a sudden Barry and Burky meet for the first time, and all of a sudden time goes into slow motion, and we run slowly towards one another. And then I hug Paul Grogan.
And why wouldn't you?
No, it was seriously, it was just so fantastic. You know, it was so great to see you, Barry. It was really the highlight. Last night, Lance Mikester called me up and said, hey, we need to do a Tasty Minstrel podcast. He said, you got some time? Can you come on the show? 10:30 last night. We're talking about Gen Con. And talking about, he asked me what my very best moment of Gen Con was. And here I've got amazing business things that have been happening for us that have blown my mind with Game Toppers. Going to the convention, having 24 publishers. I mean, publishers that are... I'm going to just mention it real quick while I'm thinking about it. But these publishers have been so fantastically kind to us. I mean, these are some of the top publishers in the industry, cool mini or not, 18 toppers in their booth. It was fantastic. CGE, Czech Games Edition, we were up on the second floor in their room, and we had 10 toppers in the room, and they allowed us to share that room with them and have a place that people could come and meet us, and we could show off our toppers. Queen Games, North Star Games, they had their new hit game that was there with Most Wanted. Big Kid Games, Grey Fox Games, Tasty Minstrel, Academy Games, Van Ryder Games, Capstone Games, Scyther Gaming, the board game group, Monolith Games, had an opportunity to see you there. Eagle Griffin, Steamforge, Mayday Games, Formal Ferret Games, Board Game Geek, Dogmite Games, Queen Games, Portal Games, Quick Simple Fun. I mean, Red Raven Games, Ryan Lockett. I mean, I love that guy. These are companies, Cephalofair Games, Isaac Childress with Gloomhaven, and Jean Paul at Gale Force 9 had two of our big Mycrofts there, and we just developing relationships with these quality publishers. I mean, these are amazing moments for me professionally, but the answer to Lance's question, what was my best, was, wow, I got to see my dear friend Barry Doublet all the way from France, and we got to enjoy time together, eating, playing games, and just screwing around and having a good time.
And smoking.
Smoking, yeah. You got secondhand cigar smoke, didn't you?
I did indeed. Wow. My luggage on the way home, just, I get home and open it up, it's, whoa! Yeah. Oh yeah, Burky. Oh, and then it just goes into rose tinted glasses mode. Burky.
Well, Barry's referring to an evening we had with Brian Pope from Arcane Wonders. That it's always an annual tradition that we go to this cigar lounge and have a couple fine cigars. So
remind me next time not to go. No offense, but after a while, I was starting to wheeze a tad. But, hey-ho, that's the life. Yeah, but as you say, Gen Con was an extraordinary event. I was there working. I was in a booth demoing for Monolith throughout the week. So I helped set up the stand, take the stand down. As I said, demo. I hardly found time to catch my breath and go for a wander around. I did have a few wanders, but they weren't very long. But they were always profitable because I always bumped into someone I knew, and we had good old chat, like Chaz Marla, like Benjamin Loomis of Syrinscape, like Elad Goldstein of Golden Egg Games, and then just other podcasters and other reviewers, catching Rodney Smith with his trousers down almost. But anyway, when you walk through the hall every day, game toppers were like practically everywhere, and they look stunning. I was well impressed how much of how they just tweak a game and make it look really impressive and, it just eye-catching. They were there all the week, and I was feeling proud of you. I was like, wow, you've put in the legwork, and it's like everywhere. And I'm sure there are a lot of people that went home with your cards and are contemplating getting a game topper, as well as those that probably did go straight up to the hall and got one. It was a phenomenal experience. I had a great time with my team of guys, so thank you, David, thank you, Matt, and thank you, Ken. You guys were a laugh to hang around. So we had an American, a Canadian, a French, and an English guy, and we were just taking the mick out of each other all week, as well as teaching people how to play these really great games. Barry, but as you said, the highlight was, seeing you, hanging out with you, and then scrounging off you as you paid for everything that I ate. And I feel terribly guilty,
payback is a bear, though, buddy.
Yeah, if you come here to Essen, you know what's going to happen. It seemed too short. We could have played so many games together and had so much of a laugh. It just went too fast. I think most of the time we spent looking for restaurants. That was the problem. Lots of wandering around.
The last night, that was definitely the case.
Oh, yeah. Parkour.
Yeah.
Parkour.
What Barry's referring to is at the end of the con, we were getting loaded up into our trailer, and getting the loading dock time is a bit of a grueling thing at Gen Con. That's some of the nuances of being a vendor at Gen Con. If you talk to publishers, you talk to the vendors and their crew, it's not a pleasant experience, and most people don't feel good about that. But they love Gen Con because of the spectacle, but mostly because of the interactions and a lot of times the after Gen Con, when the convention hall closes and everybody gets to hang out and do the different things they do. So, but that particular evening, by the time we were done, everything was closed on Sunday night. We ended up going to Champs, but we had some fantastic food. We had our crew there with Kay King and her fiance, Andy, and Daniel, and Josiah, my son, was there, and Kelly, who's been just a fantastic blessing in our booth. He's a professor at a local college, and he's been helping me this summer with Game Toppers and doing such a great job. And we just had that opportunity to sit and hang for a while and get some great hors d'oeuvres and I mean, those salads and that big nacho plate that you had. Good grief.
Wow, that was bigger than I thought it would be. I thought I'd be able to easily eat some nachos and then have my chicken Caesar salad, but no.
Oh, it was huge. And Kay, she gets this Bloody Mary drink, but this thing's got like 5 sticks of shrimp in it, and it's got a whole rib, a beef rib in it.
It was a tankard. It was a tankard of Bloody Mary.
I mean, it was like the Flintstones. I mean, it was like the car was going to fall over. And but again, just so much fun hanging out with one another, and that definitely was one of the highlights. So tell me, when it came to, you're coming to America, you're coming to the largest convention, gaming convention, board games centric in North America.
Yeah.
So, how did you feel about compared to the conventions? You know, you've been to UK Gaming Expo, you've been to Essen, you've been to a lot of the local fare.
Well, it's definitely bigger. It's very, very extravagant. You know, the whole kind of city shuts down, and I think like a lot of the residents probably leave town to make space for all the Gen Conners, because it is like the biggest event that takes place in Indianapolis every year. So I've been told by a taxi driver. Whether the taxi driver was, you know, there or not, I don't know. But yeah, apparently it's the biggest convention, and it was big. I was very shocked whenever I walked to the booth in the morning, because the hall opens at 10 o'clock. At 9 o'clock, there are people queuing up for the main halls, but there's also people queuing up for these rooms which are open, and there are people already playing role-playing games or playing Magic the Gathering games or going to a seminar or whatever. The halls were packed with people just wandering around and queuing, and I was shocked, because at Essen you don't have that. UK Game Expo, you don't have that. It is just one hall, and you go in when it opens and you go out when it closes.
We had the same thing happen. We did something really fun with CGE because we were partnering with them. So we made these Game Topper tote bags. These are these fantastic tote bags that you can get up to 3 Ticket to Ride size boxes in, or you can get, I don't know if you can see this very well here, or 5 of like the Z-Man style boxes from the side. It has a front pouch, heavily reinforced. It's zippered on the top. It's insulated, actually, so you can keep your hot games hot or your cold games cold. And
the BGG room must have been packed with them then, because they're all
hot games. But you have a nice ribbing here that protects it. Well, we did some custom CGE bags, and this is a limited edition Galaxy Trucker. They have a Tash Kalar. We have a code names, Pictomania. And so people would come up to the room, and they would get these wonderful bags with their purchases. We were sharing the room, but they had all their big games playing on the Game Toppers. But right away in the morning, I tell you what, 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, that room was jam-packed. And this was a huge room. I mean, there was like 30, 40 tables in there total. Then the hall opens up, like half of it just emptied. And then all of a sudden the hall closes at 6 o'clock. The room full till 10 o'clock at night. Crazy.
Yeah. It must have been like that everywhere else in all the other rooms. Like in all the hotels, even in my hotel, there were rooms that had been booked out. And when I left my hotel, as I walked past these rooms, you could see there were people sitting down playing. I mean, role-playing games at 9 o'clock in the morning. I mean, these people must have a real passion, and maybe this is their only chance to get to play with the certain group of people that they can only meet at Gen Con who they love role-playing with. It was phenomenal. It was a lovely kind of warm sensation washed over me as I was walking around and going, wow, I haven't started work yet, but they already started playing. And as I said, at the other events over here in Europe, you don't get that. You go to work and there'll be a little queue or a little crowd of people going to the exhibition themselves, and it's like you feel, okay, this is nice.
So,
I'm just going through this door, and that's it. There's nobody.
So we go. I'm going to be going to Essen this year with a trade mission to bring Game Toppers to the world. Woo! And yeah, so we're going to see each other again, which is really cool. But how does it relate? You saw, several nights we were able to go out and have dinner, and there's such a wonderful array of local, close-by dinner places at Gen Con. Mm-hmm. Tell me how you think that compares to Essen and when their hall closes and the after Essen, if you will.
Yeah, well, it's pretty much the same. I think it's a lot more calmer, though. The main street is a lot quieter. There's not so many people, but you will have a bit of a problem trying to find a restaurant which is, vacant. There are quite a lot around there. There's a lovely Irish pub, which I love going into. I can't think of the name. But it's nice to go in there and get a Guinness and a nice steak and chips. There are Italian restaurants. There are French crepe and waffle restaurants. There are all kinds of restaurants all along the main road, which are not 10, 15 minutes walk away from the actual centre itself. And as I said, I think a lot of the attendees of Essen live in the area, or they're visiting friends, so you don't see them in the street. You just see all the foreigners like us wandering the street at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, all the way up till 12 o'clock at night. The hotels, they open up rooms so players can play games. So, if you're at a hotel, it's probably best to eat at the hotel and play a game on the side. But, it's not the same. It's not the same. You won't have those streets of crowded people trying to bustle past you. Everyone, when the hall's closed, everyone walks out and they all go their own direction. They get in their car, or they go straight to a hotel, or they go straight to a restaurant, or wherever they go. Their house might be just down the road. So, I mean, that's a big difference. And the food is better.
Better in Germany.
It's better. Oh, yeah. I can't complain about the food that I've eaten at Essen at all. Even from the booths and stands inside the centre, I can't complain.
Yeah, I heard that Tom Vassell talks about the food inside of Essen being really good.
Yeah. But Gen Con, I'm sorry, guys. It's okay. It's palatable, but...
you just probably haven't been to the right place. Was it too much horseradish?
Yeah, there was too much horseradish. But it's a different world. It's a different way of living, and I am totally lost for words and can't think of a nice, polite thing to say about the food. Although the breakfast that I had at the restaurant at the hotel that I stayed in, were wonderful. Best meal of the day. Fill yourself up there. Have a big old breakfast, big old bowl of cereal, big old bacon and eggs and sausage and stuff, and then you don't need to eat for the rest of the day. I had trouble trying to get a sandwich in my mouth during the open hours of the exhibition hall. It was really, really hard for me to talk because I was answering questions, I was joking with the guys, but I'm used to that, and I love that. I love the fact that I'm having fun doing something that I love doing, and I could do that for the rest of my life. Just go around and teach people how to play games.
Yeah, I had so many different wonderful experiences because I had so many of the backers of Game Toppers come up to me, and we got to take pictures, and the joy that people were expressing to me that the Topper brought to them was, I mean, it's overwhelming sometimes when I hear them talk about it, because it's like, that was why I did it. It wasn't about money. It ended up, you need to make sure you make money and do it right so that you can keep doing it. But it wasn't about that. The whole desire and initial thing was, how do I make a portable solution that brings this wonderful high-quality gaming, like at my dedicated table? How do I make that portable so I can go have this same fun at my daughter's house? And people were expressing to me that type of joy. New people that hadn't even seen it and go, these are way better than they look, when they saw them online and things like that. Mm-hmm. And so incredibly gratifying. But I had opportunity to go out to lunch with Jamie Keggy. Yeah, you too. Jamie Keggy, Joel Eddy, and Tony Topper. And we went to Rathskeller's. It's about 2 miles away. It's this German restaurant. And they had some amazing sausages and sauerkraut and German potato salad. It was fantastic. This old world, really, you could tell that it had been there for 80, 100 years. Big elk heads on the high ceilings and this crazy, German feel. It was just such a great time, and that day was particularly busy up to that time, and it was like, you want to go have lunch? And I said, yeah, I just would love to just go take a break for just try to quiet everything down. And we had this hour and a half or whatever it was just to kind of, oh, wow, we're enjoying one another. We're talking about different things in the hobby, and it was just fantastic. Had such a great time. We had so many of these opportunities, and yet I felt like this year at Gen Con,
you squandered them all with me.
Probably. I absolutely had that as a priority to take advantage and of that opportunity and take advantage of you. So we really. But I felt like I didn't meet as many people as normal, and I think it's because I was in so many business meetings. From right away in the morning, I would have 3 or 4 meetings. I'd be meeting with other people. Then I was running between booths, helping those companies, then managing our own booth. I had wonderful help. Derek Funkhauser from the Board Game Spotlight and his lovely wife, Lizzie, they came up and helped a couple mornings. And it was fantastic. They just did a great job. Kelly and my son Josiah, they just did a bang-up job. Kay King came up there and helped several afternoons too, and she's a breath of fresh air. I love her to death. She's like another daughter to me. I just love her to pieces. And and these people have been I can't say enough gratitude and thanks for their help. But at the same point, it's like I saw Chaz for about 2 minutes and said hi. I saw Mark Streed from the Board Game Corner. I love Mark, and we really didn't get to have a conversation. Robert Searing, I saw him running by, and I said hi at another point, and that was it.
I think I got to chat with Rob quite a bit. I think I had about a 15-minute chat in total. It was like in several days. It was like over several days. Like 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, 5 minutes. But he was always there. He was always chatting to me and taking pictures.
Well, their booth was on your neck of the woods, and I'm way up in the second floor, kind of hidden.
Yeah, true.
And a lot of people said that. We had this campaign going, "Where's Burky?" Yeah. And I think a lot of people didn't realize that I was way up there.
Yeah. I think you were in business mode as well, because it just seemed like every time I crossed your path in the hall, whether it be open or closed, someone would say, "Oh, this is nice," and then all of a sudden you would just go bang into your spiel. Yeah, well, this is made out of some kind of dead dinosaur, and we put this mat in here, which kind of like takes a cowboy out of the...
That's exactly the way I do it.
Yeah. So you were in full work mode, so probably why the days whiz by for you. It's like me. I was in full work mode. Demo... You get to demo about 6 games in a day, maybe more. And you're there watching the whole time because each game is exciting and it tells a story, and I'm like so absorbed. You know, it's like, go for a break. And I'm like, wait a minute, I just want to see what happens here.
We had so many wonderful business things that happen. If I told everybody the things that are going on right now, it's just remarkable.
So save them for another day.
Yeah, it's another discussion, but it was so fantastic. And yet all of the other things that Gen Con, it's chaotic. It has that overwhelming thing that goes on. A lot of the publishers, if you talk with them, you hear the frustration with certain things, getting their booths in, dealing with the dock situation and the unions and getting your stuff on time, blah, blah, blah. Just the sheer amount of work getting ready for this show, because it's such a massive undertaking. It's hard to if you're used to going to these shows as an entertainment thing, and then you have to shift gears into, no, this is a business, and this isn't about me enjoying myself. This is about me presenting a company. There's a totally different mindset that happens.
Yeah, it's quite worrying when you get tables in your booth and they're the wrong size, and so you get the right size ones, and all of a sudden the table topper is too big for the tables that you got, and that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, right.
I really wanted the game topper in our booth with Batman on it. But yeah, these
things happen. Scott Morris from Passport Game Studios benefited from your guys' debacle there.
They did they? And you benefited because he went home with it, and he's going to send you a check in the mail. Checks in the mail.
And but Monolith, you can tell they have some fantastic games. And I saw the video that you just this morning. I actually listened to your vlog of Gen Con and listened to the whole thing through. There's wonderful video about you passing through the halls, showing off all the games that Monolith had, some of the games you've been reviewing, some of the experiences we had, our little Jamaica excursion at Family Time Games. So, and that's one thing too. I just wanted to give props to Shane Pretty. This guy, I just met him. I was introduced to him from Man vs. Meeple a couple months ago. Developed a relationship with him and started talking about having game toppers at their store so that they could present it to the Indianapolis community. This guy has a big store and is really prolific in the hobby. He does so much for so many people. He's a former Navy guy, and I mean, he would be at his store at 6 o'clock in the morning to bring his shuttle so he could drive people from the north side of Indianapolis and drive them to Gen Con. And he did that like he'd getting 4 hours of sleep a night.
Wow.
And Sunday or Monday morning before we went back, we drove all the way Monday. We didn't get out of Indianapolis till 2:30. Then we drove till 4 a.m. Tuesday morning to get back home. Quite a grueling little set of time, but we were able to set Shane's store with 4 game toppers and bring some excess inventory. So if you're in Indianapolis, you can actually go into the store and actually pick up some game toppers and not have to pay the shipping costs. Just some awesome stuff like that, and developing those kind of relationships with quality people. Man, that's the joy of this hobby, right?
Yeah, it is. I'm glad you found the store a lot more easier this time, though.
Yeah, we won't talk about that.
No, we won't talk about the detour.
No. That was Siri's fault. That was not my fault. That was Siri's fault.
She misunderstood you.
Yes, she took us to a little dark place.
Yeah, a fun time place. Not a family time place, but a fun time place.
Yeah, it took us about 30 miles out of our way, so that was very interesting.
Yeah, that's all right. In your Speedmobile, we were there in 10 minutes.
Yeah, we got to spend some time talking, so it was all cool.
Oh, yeah, that was fantastic. Unfortunately, we didn't have time to record a podcast, which is what I should have done.
Yeah, we were going to do a live podcast at Gen Con, but no.
No. There was no appropriate time.
No appropriate time. There was many inappropriate times.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Remember that time when I came out and I ripped my blouse? They were shouting out my name. Yeah, it was Birds of a Feather. Barry and I immediately started playing off one another, just like we are being silly in this podcast, just having fun, ad-libbing, and being ourselves. And that was really a lot of fun. So it was a highlight.
Yeah. So Essen is going to be the next time.
There we go. Going to have a good time.
Wait. It'll be me showing you around then.
That'll be fantastic. and my wife might even be coming with, so that's very exciting.
Yes. Especially afterwards.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we're going to go find some good German places to eat.
But you won't find any German places to eat in France.
No, we'll find some French places, but I heard that the best French food in France is made by your mother-in-law.
It is.
So I'm all in. Well, I think it's time we could gush about the opportunity we got to see one another. I know it was special to both of us. Hope people will bear with us with that commentary. But
yeah, so this is the most boring podcast ever.
Probably. Except to you and I, right? But,
except for you and I.
But likewise, we just had... the show was fantastic. There was a lot of really great things that happened. So a lot of good games came out.
And some good news as well. Chaz Mahler is now working for BGG.
I just saw that. So is he still working with Passport Game Studios as well?
I presume so, unless I got him fired, because I went to go and chat with him. And his boss didn't look too happy as I chatted with him and fooled around like an idiot, as I do. So he might have been fired because of me. Hence
well, that got him the promotion for BGG. Because Chaz came over crying. I saw him talking to Scott Alden, going, look, and Scott says, what's the matter? Double it. And then he get a and Scott said, it's okay. It's okay.
Yes.
When did I ever refuse an accommodation? That's the way Scott talked to him, because he was looking, he came to him for a favor on the day of his daughter's wedding.
Yeah.
So.
But anyway, I won't talk about where I stuck my camera with Charles.
I saw it. I saw it. I wish I could unsee it.
Yeah. Yeah, so let's wrap up. Thank you very much, Burky, for entertaining me while we were there.
Fantastic.
Thank you to everyone that was there that I met. All those one fans that hugged me.
Yeah, I had several people come up and say that they had heard us on the Burky and Badger board game Babble, and that was really cool. Ben Steeler was there, and he was just like, oh, I love this show. This show is awesome. You guys are awesome. I mean, he was kind of fanboying, and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is so...
Yeah, Ben was there.
Unrealistic, but...
Yeah. And my other fan, who I thought, wow, this is cool, she was actually working for you. That was Kay.
She never listens, but she never listens to our show.
Who I thought might have been Kabuki Kid. Because she had a vast knowledge of board games. Plus, her initials are KK.
True.
Kabuki
Maybe
Kid.
she is Kabuki Kid. And she's not letting me know. That's what it is.
Yeah.
She's Kabuki Kid. Kay is awesome. She's incredibly knowledgeable. And just like I said, she's like a daughter to me. I love her to death. Well, I think we better wrap up this gush fest here and move on. Where can people find you, Barry?
They can find me on BoardGamesEverybodyShould.com, where I do board game reviews, Kickstarter previews. We do there's this podcast there. There's some soundtracks, and
they can join you on Patreon.
They can join me on Patreon as well if they wish to sponsor me and help me pay for new equipment and maybe win themselves a board game.
I got to tell you, people, that thing pays off. Can you see this? I got to show you.
Yeah,
this is awesome.
Yeah. Yes, Burky is one of my Patreons.
I am like so jazzed about this thing. I am a Patreon backer of Barry Doublet. Okay, and look what I got.
Yep, he won a copy of Abyss Leviathan by pulling his name out of a hat.
And I had 3 people offer me big money for this, and I said, no. This is mine.
Yeah.
So that was really fantastic. So you can join him and get in on the drawing and all the goodness that Barry produces. He really does. Go check out his vlog. You'll see the quality of work that he does, and I think it's well worth the support. So highly recommend.
Where can people find you?
Well, you can find me all over the place, but you can find us at Burky and Badger on Twitter, Burky and Badger's Board Game Babble Show on Facebook, YouTube. You can find me at GameToppersLLC.com, and you can jump in still. All of our Kickstarter backers, we've sent out all of our toppers now. So you can actually put in a pre-order right now, and they are delivering within 2 and 3 weeks now. Even some, we're almost done, and they'll be delivering within a week. So very exciting about that, but we have limited inventory because sometimes we have 1 and 2 sales a day, and our inventory is going very quickly. We're going to have to go back to produce another big run here before we know it, and we'll be doing that when we go to international distribution, so it's super exciting. But if you want to get in on the good gamer goodness that is Game Toppers, GameToppersLLC.com. Also want to give a big thanks to all the backers that came and saw me at Gen Con. That was just I so appreciate meeting each and every one of you. Likewise, Arcane Wonders, Academy Games, check out their great products. Thank you for your support. And make sure to keep listening and tell people about Burky and Badger on iTunes and on Stitcher.
And on Libsyn.
And Libsyn on the Board Game Geek Guild 2248.
Yes, where the question will be, what is the greatest experience that you had at Gen Con 2018?
That's going to be a great poll. Tell us what you guys did. Tell us what were your best experiences.
Maybe hugging Burky. And his bear meat body.
Yeah, I did pick you up at one time, didn't I? And carried you over the threshold.
And your shirt ripped. I remember your shirt ripping.
Remember that time? All right. Well, I think it's time to send us on out.
Thank you again for listening to Burky and Badger's Board Game Babble. This show was written, produced, and performed by Kevin Burkhardt-Smyer and Barry Doublet, as was the music too, with a little help from the Balance of Power. Although the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly theme was composed by Ennio Morricone, and background effects were supplied by Syrinscape. Enhance your gaming at Syrinscape.com. Join us next time where we might have a special guest, or we may review a game. But either way, there'll be more craziness and more babbling.
We're so glad we had this time together. Now it's time to go. It won't be long until we have another show. So keep us in mind, get online. Burky and Badger will be back in no time.